Hi there. Thanks for joining me today for this quick overview of what's included in your Bannermen Global Asset Partnership Program package files. My name is Daniel Butler and I am Technical Director here at the Bannermen. So if you are seeing this video, chances are that your brand is working with the Bannermen to produce online digital campaigns. Before we get started, it's important to note that the assets provided in these package files might not exactly match the exact sizes or technical specifications of your local media buy or placements. The good news is our assets are built in such a way that it's incredibly simple for you to quickly design the static resizes and update the HTML5 builds to the local content you require. But if you do require additional help with production or extra animated banner sizes created, please just reach out to your Bannerman Partnership representative or feel free to get in touch via the contact form on our website. So let's dive in. The first thing that you're going to see is your zip package files that you can double click on to unzip. Once the file is unzipped, you'll see three things. The first is a text file that has links to our website where you can view helpful step-by-step video tutorials or read a step-by-step guide. These will help you or your design team work with our assets to produce the custom assets and extra static sizes that you may need. The second thing you'll see is HTML5 banners. These contain the animated banners and designs that make up those banners. You'll be able to use these design files to update the content of your banners to your local market requirements. Finally, there are static templates. So for those placements that can't accept the animated HTML5 banners, we've got statics templated in 3 different layouts for you to use to produce any sort of custom size you need. Let's start with a deeper look at the HTML5 banners folder. When you go into the HTML5 banners folder, you're going to see again 2 folders. The first is the designs and the second is the banners themselves. For the designs, those are Photoshop files that we use to produce the banners. In the HTML file, you will see folders with a campaign name as well as descriptions. For example, it might say something like Christmas 2022 _ 728 by 90. The 728 by 90 refers to the banner, which is 728 pixels wide by 90 pixels deep. In our global assets, we provide everyone with the same 3 to 5 sizes of HTML5 banners, which tend to be the most common sizes that show up on media plans. However, it is possible that your media plan or media agency require HTML5 banners that aren't in the provided sizes. The good news is that here at the Bannermen we offer reduced rates on the production for all partners. So if you require an HTML5 banner that isn't listed here, go ahead and get in contact with your partnership program rep, and we've got a support page on our website that you can request to talk to someone at the Bannermen, and we can then just get these built out for you. Something else to note is that your HTML5 banners are likely to be built for the Google Ad Server systems. This is sometimes known as DV360 or just Google Ads. The ad server is what the media agency use to put banners out on the web, and Google makes up roughly 80% of the ads served on the internet. If the ad server your media agency is requesting you to provide HTML files built for a different ad server than what we have provided, for example, it could be something like Sysmec, Flash Talking, Adform, then once again, just reach out to your Bannerman rep and we can get these banners converted into whatever ad server you require. Now let's take a closer look at the HTML5 banner builds themselves. The first thing you'll notice that in this folder you've got 2 sets of assets for every size, one that's a zip and one that is a folder for the banner itself. And the zips can be deleted if you're just changing assets. The zip is just the way that the files can be uploaded to the ad server by the media agency. When you replace the assets, you'll just need to zip them again before you provide them to the media team. When you select the zip file, they should indicate what the file size is. Now, This is really important because when we say file size, we're referring to how heavy the banner is and how much room it takes up on an ad server. Most ad servers and media plans will have file size limits between 250 and 300 kilobytes. But to be safe, we tend to build them at 350 kilobytes unless we were instructed by the central marketing team to have them higher. When you extract your images for the copy or any asset updates, you'll need to use a compression program to make sure these assets are as lightweight as possible so you can keep the banner within the 150 kilobyte mark or whatever limit has been set by your central team. The next thing you'll notice is what a folder called backup. So what this is when you provide the HTML5 banner ads to the media agency, you'll always have to provide a static backup image, which will be served in cases where the ad has been served somewhere that doesn't take HTML5 or has been blocked for some reason. In this case, it will just display a backup image. So when you're doing the updates to the HTML5 banners, you also need to update these backup images. So if you're changing the language, you will also need to make the same updates to the backup image itself. Finally, if you look inside the folders for each banner, you will see that they all contain the same files in every folder. We can see here the custom JS file that is created for JavaScript, and this is the file which tends to handle the animation of the banner. There's also an index file that is the HTML component, which sets out what the banner's content is, and then there's a CSS file that sets out the styling of the banners. Now, luckily, you really don't need to worry about any of these. You will not be required to touch the JavaScript, the HTML5, or the CSS file in order to adjust these files. The only file that you're going to need to work with is the HTML file itself and the assets within the images folder. For those of you who have never worked with HTML files before, all you need to know is you should be able to quickly double-click on the index.html file and it will open up the banner in your default browser. You want to be sure that when you are updating the banner that you do this every time you replace an asset. This is just to make sure the banner is still working and the updates are going as expected. If you do double click on the index file and it doesn't open anything, just please go look at our FAQ page, as there are a few things that you might need to troubleshoot before you can review the banner locally. But as I said, the only file that you will actually need to edit or replace in order to adapt your banner files to your local market are the image files. In the image folder, you'll see you have a combination of PNGs and JPEGs. These are two different types of image formats. If we take a closer look at PNGs, you'll see that this image has a transparent background, which is a feature of a PNG file. And you can see that the image is the same full size of the banner itself. So for example, if we look at copy 1_1, it only takes up a small amount of the screen, but we've extracted the asset to be the full size of the banner itself. Now, why have we done this? Well, what it means is you can update the copy's position and size and be able to get a pixel perfect placement across different browsers without ever needing a developer to go in and update the copy for you. We'll go into the reasoning for this when we talk about the designs in more detail. Something else that I'd like to point out is that you will see no matter what the size of the banner is, the assets are actually named the same. So when you start to replace assets, please be sure to double check you're working in the correct size before you place anything. This is so you don't accidentally start updating assets in the 300 by 250 banner when you're trying to make updates to the 300 by 600. Right, so let's jump over to the Photoshop design files for each of the HTML5 banners. And these are separate from the static design templates that we'll go into shortly. Right, so in order to work with the HTML5 banner designs, you or someone on your team will require access to Adobe Photoshop. If your agency does not have access to that program, just please reach out to your partnership rep and they'll be able to give you access to Figma files, which is a free online system. So you should be able to use that even if you don't have Photoshop. For those who have never worked with Photoshop before, hopefully you're going to have a designer to help you with this, but I'm just going to give you a very quick walkthrough of the files now. Something you might notice in these designs that we've provided is they're actually double the size of the banner itself. This is what's called retina. So for example, this 300 by 250 pixel banner has retina designs that will be 600 by 500. What this essentially does is it allows the banner to load in high resolution assets so they look really sharp and clean on mobile and high resolution screens. These are the actual designs we use to produce the banners, and we've made it extra easy for you to work with them, as when you export these assets, they're at the full size of the banner rather than having to export smaller assets at the size they actually are. The reason we do this is, once again, so you don't need a developer to move things around, change font sizes, move things left or right. You just update it in the designs and then drop it into the banner and it will sit exactly where it is in your design file. So once again, no fancy coding and no developer required to change assets. It also means that if you need to add a different language, if you need to change the logo, change a product, you just place them into your design and then you extract them again at the full size. This then replaces the similar sized asset in the banner and you should be good to go. Again, we've got tips and tutorials, but this is just a general quick overview on what you've got and how to work with them. We'll go into far more detail in the next video how to work with these Photoshop files. So finally, let's take a look at the static templates. Right, so in some cases your media agency will say that they can't accept animated HTML5 banner files. And for these placements, they'll tend to just want a static. And a static is normally just a JPEG image that has no animation. With these files, it will be really easy for your designers to put these together and extract. So what we've done is we've provided you with 3 layouts: landscape, portrait, and square. These are all approved creative designs from your central brand office. Your designer can then take these designs and easily make them bigger or smaller to fit the exact dimensions that your media agency is asking for. Then you don't have to worry about completely redesigning the banners or making the designs from scratch. If your designer is having a hard time working with these files, just get in touch and we can walk the designer through the process of getting these static placements produced. If you don't have design resource available on your end, we of course offer preferred partnership rates so we can get those statics created for you. And that concludes our quick overview of the Bannermen Global Asset Partnership Program package files. We've got step-by-step tutorials that you can pass on to your design team that outlines how they can work with these files and update the banners as needed. We've also got 24-hour support for all our partners, so if you do run into trouble or you need extra help, you can just contact your partnership rep or you can contact us on our website and someone will get back to you as soon as possible.